They could not be seen in daylight because sun religion came in, as we say, Helios Biblios was starting to come in. Judo Christianity and all that started to come in. So you couldn't hug your mom. If you were still stuck with the old ways, you couldn't hug your mom and your people in daylight. You might have to go and you could have to hug them at nighttime, aka children of the night. So,
pull up that song there, mad in a dog.
We're gonna say this. We're gonna say Moors vampirism. Now, Moors, Mauritius, Melanites, whatever you feel like you is, Americaness, pay close attention. You don't get every story what you think you're gonna get. You have the story of Unis, Pharaoh Unis. They tell you about Dracula, that's in the Far East. We have our own. I want between the end of the 4th or the 5th dynasty, get the book of the Witch Moon, and get the book The Guise of Canaan, Dragon of the Twin Flame. Both books are by Michael W. Ford. Check those books out. What they tell you about is a pharaoh named Pharaoh Unis. And you can he's also mentioned in the Book of the Dead by E.A. Wallace Budge. He got bored of going to war, killing people. He got tired of it. He wanted a bigger challenge. So legend has it, he did a ritual. This is a pharaoh. He invited the guys to the table and he slit each one of their throats and drank their blood. And he became like what they were. You have Isis, who poisoned Ra and got the real name out of him, and she became just as strong as Ra. You have Set, who had all the attributes of the gods. You don't get these stories no more because they had to go due to what we would say today, Judo-Christianity. But before Judo-Christianity, bringing in the religion of Osiris. When you look at the tribe, the Mari, they came from the worship of Set and Isis, which are actually Moors. This is before Islam. I'm not trying to talk down on Islam. From what it states, you can also find this on Wikipedia under the ancient Berbers, which are actually tied to the American Negro today. As we say, I believe many of y'all say Moorish Americans. When you look into the Mari and the Canaanites and the Moabites, they all worship the form of Set, Isis, Ashtaroth, which is another form of Sekhmet. Some of them worship what we would call dark beings, but they was not doing what you would call blood sacrifices to women, innocent women and children. And they only sacrificed their enemies, which was the cult of Yahweh. AKA, we know who they are today.
Teach!
Those that sold out.
Come on.
They was the ones that was actually doing their blood sacrifice without discriminating. As we call it, what we want to say, I believe Yeshua kicked out the Canaanites and the Moabites, I believe because it was so-called devil worship in those times.
Correct.
Which was actually cleaning out the rest of the religion of self. Ladies and gentlemen, these people had to go under the ground. The book you can find this in is The Draconian Coast of Khem. And these are the Mari. And when you start to read this, it will show you and tell you that the Mari are actually some of the original children of the Egyptian god Set. And if you look, and then when they said in Grand Canyons, you also had the Temple of Set, the Tower of Set, and the Temple of Aset. These people, when we say these misogynists, some say misogynistic, some say patriarch, when these systems started to come in, these people had to go. They had to go underground. They could not be seen in daylight because sun religion came in, as we say, Helios Biblios was starting to come in. Judo-Christianity and all that started to come in. So you couldn't hug your mom. If you were still stuck with the old ways, you couldn't hug your mom and your people in daylight. You might have to go and you could have had to hug them at nighttime. They could not be seen in daylight because sun religion came in, as we say, Helios Biblios was starting to come in. Judo-Christianity, all that started to come in. So you couldn't hug your mom. If you were still stuck with the old way, you couldn't hug your mom and your people in daylight. You might have to go and you could have to hug them at nighttime, AKA children of the night.